Number 7. Gentlemen are way more prone to seeing the world differently, and not in a philosophical way. 1 out of every 12 guys walks around unable to distinguish certain colors properly, compared to just 1 in 200 ladies. That means fellas are a staggering 17 times more likely to struggle with colors than women. Wild, right? But here's where it gets fascinating. This isn't about lifestyle or environment, it's hardwired into our very DNA. The National Eye Institute reveals something mind-blowing. The specific genes responsible for detecting colors live exclusively on the X chromosome, nowhere else. Now here's where biology plays favorites. Women possess 2 X chromosomes in every cell of their body. If one carries that troublesome colorblindness gene, guess what happens? The other healthy chromosome swoops in like a superhero and covers for its defective twin. But men drew the short straw in this genetic lottery. Guys only inherit a single X chromosome, and it comes directly from their mother. So when that lone X chromosome carries the faulty gene, there's absolutely no backup system, no safety net, no second opinion. He's colorblind, plain and simple. Scientists call this XL recessive inheritance, a fancy term for a cruel genetic trick. Around 300 million people worldwide navigate life without seeing the complete color spectrum, and shockingly, approximately 95% of them are male. But here's a silver lining that might surprise you. Colorblind fathers physically cannot pass this condition to their sons. Why? Because fathers only hand their sons a Y chromosome, not an X. However, they do pass their X chromosome to their daughters, transforming them into silent carriers who might unknowingly pass it forward to their own children someday. Women can absolutely be colorblind, but it demands inheriting the defective gene from both parents simultaneously, which statistically happens about as often as winning the lottery. The genetic dice roll that determines whether you experience the world in vibrant full color is heavily, unfairly stacked against men. Number 6. Earth's oxygen isn't coming from where you think. You've probably spent your whole life believing that rainforests produce most of the oxygen we breathe. Plot twist, they don't. The ocean does, and it's not even close. Scientists estimate that roughly 50 to 70% of all atmospheric oxygen originates from marine photosynthesizers, tiny organisms like phytoplankton, seaweed, and ancient cyanobacteria. These microscopic powerhouses drift effortlessly in the upper 200 meters of ocean water, using photosynthesis to convert carbon dioxide and sunlight into pure energy while releasing oxygen as a byproduct. There's this incredible organism called Prochlorococcus that scientists affectionately nickname the lungs of the planet. This single-celled organism produces approximately 20% of all oxygen on Earth. Let that sink in for a moment. A microscopic creature you can't even see with your naked eye is directly responsible for 1 in every 5 breaths you take right now. These phytoplankton populations have been churning out oxygen for an astounding 3.5 billion years, long before trees even existed on this planet. Without ocean oxygen production, complex life as we know it probably never happens, period. The irony slaps you in the face when you realize that while the ocean produces over half our oxygen, we constantly credit trees and panic about deforestation like it's the only threat to breathable air. Ocean health matters just as much, if not more. When phytoplankton populations decline because of warming waters or pollution choking their habitat, oxygen production drops dramatically. So the next time you're chilling at the beach, soaking up the sun, do yourself and humanity a favor. Clean up your trash and remove anything that doesn't belong in the ocean. The ocean represents one of our most critical life support systems, and we're treating it like a garbage dump. Number 5. Those innocent fluffy clouds above your head are hiding a shocking secret. A single cloud can weigh around 1 million pounds. Yeah, you read that right. Those fluffy white clouds floating peacefully overhead actually weigh roughly 1 million pounds each. That's legitimately heavier than a fully loaded Boeing 747 jetliner cruising at altitude. According to the United States Geological Survey, the average cumulus cloud contains approximately 1 million pounds of water droplets suspended in midair, Your brain is probably screaming at you right now. How is something that heavy just floating there? The answer is beautifully simple yet mind-bending. The water droplets inside clouds are so unbelievably tiny and small that air resistance keeps them effortlessly afloat. Technically, they are falling, but so incredibly slowly that updrafts and air currents easily keep them suspended like invisible hands holding them up. Plus, the moist air inside the cloud weighs less than the dry air surrounding it. It's the exact same principle that makes hot air balloons float gracefully through the sky. The water in clouds isn't one solid mass ready to crash down. It's dispersed into billions upon billions of microscopic droplets, each measuring about 20 micrometers in diameter. That's smaller than the width of a single human hair on your head. When enough of these tiny droplets merge together and combine forces, they finally become heavy enough to overcome air resistance and fall as rain. But until that critical moment happens, 1,000,000 pounds of water, shaped like a white fluffy cloud, just hangs there casually in the sky, defying your intuition. Next time you see a cloud drifting by, remember you're looking at something that weighs more than 100 full-grown adult elephants just floating above you. Number 4. The ground beneath your feet is teeming with more life than you ever imagined. You probably think soil is nasty, dirty, and something to avoid, but it's actually a thriving ecosystem more crowded than any city humans have ever built on this planet. A single teaspoon of healthy soil contains more living microorganisms than there are humans alive on Earth right now. We're talking billions of bacteria, millions of fungi, thousands of protozoa, hundreds of nematodes, and countless other microscopic life forms all crammed into one tiny teaspoon. The US Department of Agriculture estimates that soil hosts millions of different species and billions of individual organisms per teaspoon, representing the greatest concentration of biomass anywhere on Earth. These organisms form an invisible civilization that works seamlessly together in perfect harmony. Bacteria decompose organic matter and fix nitrogen directly from the air, transforming it into a form that plants can actually use. Fungi form massive underground networks that connect plant roots together, allowing them to share nutrients and even communicate with each other. Earthworms and beetles aerate the soil and break down dead material, recycling everything. This invisible world is precisely why plants grow, why ecosystems function properly, and why agriculture feeding billions of people is even possible. Without soil microorganisms working tirelessly, dead matter would pile up endlessly and nothing would ever decompose. Plants couldn't extract nutrients from the ground. The carbon cycle would collapse entirely. Life as we know it depends completely on microscopic creatures living in dirt that most people never even think about. Every single step you take is directly on top of a thriving metropolis of organisms more diverse and populous than all human civilization combined, and they've been maintaining Earth's ecosystems flawlessly for hundreds of millions of years without asking for anything in return. Number 3. Physics loves breaking your assumptions. You'd naturally assume that cold water freezes faster than hot water, right? Makes total sense logically. But under certain specific conditions, hot water actually freezes faster. This phenomenon is called the Mpemba effect, named after Erasto Mpemba, who noticed that his hot ice cream mixture froze faster than cold mixture when placed in the freezer. Scientists have been scratching their heads trying to explain why ever since. The leading theory involves thermodynamic equilibrium, a concept that sounds complicated but isn't. Hot water is further from equilibrium, meaning its molecules are in a more excited, chaotic, disordered state. When placed in a freezer, this instability can actually allow certain freezing processes to happen faster. Another theory suggests that cold water can develop frost on its surface, which ironically acts as an insulating blanket that slows freezing. The Mpemba effect doesn't happen every single time. It depends on container shape, initial temperatures, and specific environmental conditions. But when conditions align perfectly, physics produces this counterintuitive result that challenges everything you thought you knew. It's a powerful reminder that temperature and phase changes aren't as straightforward as they seem in textbooks. Number 2. Some planets have weather that makes Earth look boring. On Neptune, Uranus, and Saturn, it literally rains diamonds from the sky. These massive gas giants have atmospheric pressures and temperatures so extreme that they can crystallize carbon atoms into solid diamond, which then falls like rain. Researchers at Stanford and the University of California actually reproduced these conditions in laboratories using high-powered lasers to compress polystyrene, simulating the methane-rich atmospheres of these distant planets. Under pressures millions of times greater than Earth's atmosphere, and temperatures reaching thousands of degrees, carbon atoms rearrange themselves into diamond crystal structures. On Neptune and Uranus, scientists estimate that thousands of tons of diamonds exist in the atmosphere at any given time, with some individual diamonds potentially weighing millions of carats. On Saturn, researchers speculate that as much as 2 million pounds of diamonds rain down every single year. The universe creates conditions Earth can barely simulate in the most advanced laboratories, and things we consider ultimate luxury literally fall from the sky. It's probably a magical, breathtaking sight to witness, but I definitely prefer not having the chance of diamonds smashing my head whenever it rains. Number 1. Humans are closer to being venomous than you think. You'd assume that venom only comes from dangerous creatures like snakes or spiders, but every single mammal and reptile on Earth, including humans, has the biological capability to produce venom. Research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that the genes necessary for venom production are present across mammals and reptiles. These genes control salivary glands. In venomous species like snakes and shrews, mutations cause those glands to produce toxic proteins instead of regular digestive enzymes. Humans possess the exact same foundational genes that venomous animals use. Our salivary glands produce proteins just like venom glands do. The only difference is regulation and mutation. If the right genetic switch gets flipped due to environmental pressure or random mutation, human saliva could theoretically become toxic. Evolution has independently created venom systems over 100 times across different species, proving it's not some rare accident, but a repeatable adaptation. The fact that humans retain venom-related genes suggests we share ancient ancestry with organisms that were venomous, or that venom production is a latent ability waiting for the right evolutionary pressure. So while you're not spitting cobra venom anytime soon, you're genetically closer to doing so than you might think. It's just that evolution hasn't found a compelling reason to activate that particular feature yet. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to see more.